Well, NetApp stock has been on a tear for the past 6 months, but it's been a very interesting week for this company. The stock's been up and down, especially after an early leak of its recent earnings report. That happened earlier this week. I'm here with CEO Tom Georgens. What can you tell me about this leak? It came out about an hour early, and then the stock was halted. There was a big drop, and fortunately it recovered. What can you tell me about it?
Well, I think at this point we're just trying to take a hard look at this and take a look at our process and understand. Clearly, this is not the outcome that we wanted, and this is clearly not what we wanted to have happen. But we want to make sure that we really understand not only this situation, but are there any other situations that we need to attend to. So we're going to look at this, and we're going to take a hard look at it, and we're going to change what we need to change in order to make sure that this never happens again.
Well, there was some disappointing news in the outlook in the earnings report, but overall, the earnings were pretty good, up 33% from a year ago?
No, the earnings were strong. And in fact, in the disappointing in the outlook, you have to take a look underneath that. What really drove the outlook is actually the share count, not the earnings. So in the EPS calculation, it was the denominator. And what has happened is the rapid rise of the stock, because of a convert that we have and warrants that we used, has actually generated a bit of dilution. So actually the EPS issue is actually related to the share count and not actually to the earnings themselves. If you normalize to the share count that people were expecting, we in fact probably would have guided at or above where people were expecting.
Okay, so let's talk about the company for a second. We'll move forward here. Online storage, cloud computing, it's so hot right now. We had the big acquisition with 3PAR, and there is a lot of talk that NetApp is a takeover target.
Well, I think NetApp is a takeover target. Clearly, obviously, it would be a big deal. It would be a large deal for anybody involved, and I think clearly that would reduce the amount of potential suitors. Our position on that is relatively pragmatic. First and foremost is we're gaining share at the highest rate in the history of the company, and I think as long as we continue to do that, a dollar invested in NetApp is going to yield a better return than a dollar invested in any potential acquirer of NetApp. And what I tell the people is, we're routinely voted one of the best places to work by our employees. The stock has actually been very, very strong. I think independence is what we crave. I think we can generate a lot of shareholder return that way. And what I tell them is we don't need to do anything special.
You have a lot of new products out right now, and I wanted to talk about solid-state drives for a second because I think that's one of your products that's coming out. Solid-state being that there's no spinning disk, no tape, it's just all in memory. I mean, that's what's in this iPad right here. What's the future for solid-state storage?
Well, I think that's a long question. NetApp's belief is that flash memory, which is the underlying technology in solid-state disk, is going to fundamentally change how storage systems are done because it's going to, driven by the economics and the learning curve associated with, and the manufacturing curve and the volumes associated with those types of devices, the price is coming way down. Will it ever be as cheap as spinning media? Probably not for bulk capacity. So we see flash taking over many of the high-performance drive segment. And I think NetApp shows a different path than the rest of the market, and we have the highest connect rate of flash of any of our competitors, and now it's become an integral part of our product offering. So solid-state disk is just the form factor in which to deliver flash. So flash is important, but there's many ways of deploying it in the system.
But at the consumer level, the reality is, in a couple of years, I may not need a whole lot of memory because of companies like you, because I can just store everything I need online, right?
Well, I think that's the big difference in these types of devices is that the key component of that is really that network access is now ubiquitous, right? You don't have to be at home or at work to have network access. So once that happens, I think the burden of local storage on those devices, particularly when you might get rid of it every 6 months or every year or your phone. So I think the desire to store it remotely in some central location, and many of those today, frankly, are being stored on NetApp, I think is good for our business, but I think that's inevitability. But it's actually enabled by the network technology as opposed to the storage technology.